Good morning, I'm Scott from Blue Bonnet Roof Co. We're replacing a roof here in the Northwest Austin area. Hang out with us, we'll show you how we do it. All right, so we get asked a lot, hey, how do you replace a roof? What does it look like? What is the process? I like to tell people it's kind of like baking a cake, kind of like an instant cake mix. You got a very small set of ingredients, but you got to make sure you do everything in order to get the final product that you want. So I'm going to show you kind of what those products look like, what the process is. All right, so why are we choosing this roof today? Well, this one's got a little bit of everything. The reason I say that, we got tips, we got skylights. We also have a flatter roof area that the owners had some leak issues with around a chimney. We're going to show you what went wrong previously, what we're going to do to fix it. All right, so one of the first ingredients to our roof, once we do our entire tear off of all the old shingles, see the old underlayment that's up there, this black tar felt paper? We're going to strip all that down to the base of the roof. This is the old school underlayment that they used since the 1950s on all roofs. You see, it was great at the time, but over time it slowly starts to get brittle, tears very easily. And the new stuff is a synthetic, completely different ballgame here. This has kind of become the new industry standard. You can see it's much more difficult to tear. This is called a starter shingle. What this does, just like this, it goes around the entire perimeter of the roof, and your top layer shingles lay on top of this. It creates a seal. That way the wind doesn't get underneath the shingles and blow everything off. All right, so one thing the owner called us and told us, hey, Scott, we're having a ton of leaks in this room right below where I'm standing at. One of the issues we found, this is a little bit of a lower slope. The main roof kind of comes down and then it gets a little bit flatter right here. You can see we've got kind of a hodgepodge of different materials. Just over the years, the previous owners of the property might have done an old repair. You can see we've got shingles here, we've got a rolled roofing, then we also have an ice and water barrier that was kind of slapped on top of this. Realistically, the best way to fix this entire situation, prevent it from leaking around this chimney and in this valley behind me, is to just pull everything up down to the roof deck, replace any water damaged decking, and then put down a brand new ice and water shielding barrier along with a valley metal on top of that, then put on new shingles. So that's just to rip off the Band-Aid and start it. All right, so as I mentioned earlier, we got a few different things going on this roof. This one here has skylights. These are Velux branded skylights. Fantastic product. They come with a 10-year leak-free warranty. One of the things we did here was we picked up the skylights and slid in a waterproofing membrane underneath this. We're gonna put the flashing back down, and you'll see when we get done, all the shingles go around this seamlessly. It looks fantastic. All right, just earlier we looked at the low slope area where there was a lot of different products all kind of meshed together. What was happening with this tree cover, they were getting a ton of leaves. And so those leaves over time were creating a dam, and it was pushing all the water back underneath the shingles. If you look down what we have right here, we pulled everything up, replaced a lot of the decking that was here, and this is a peel and stick waterproofing membrane. What does it do? It basically creates a seal, 100% waterproof, and then shingles go down on top of it. Okay, so right here behind this chimney, beforehand, this was entirely flat. This entire roof leading to the back of the chimney, just dead end right into the chimney. What happens with that? Well, over time, as water's coming down, it hits the flat backside of the chimney, and water just runs underneath the shingles. I'll show a few pictures here in just a little bit of some areas where there was just holes all on the left and the right side of this chimney. So what we did, we built what's called a chimney cricket. And what this structure does is it diverts all the water around the chimney and prevents it from building up at the back. All right, so just earlier when I was talking about the main ingredients that you have to a roof, this is one of them. What we have right here is a valley. It's where two planes meet. Usually leaks occur in these areas. So what do we do to prevent a leak? We put down that same type of waterproofing barrier that was on the low slope. We put it right here as well. What it does is when the nail goes through, it creates a tight seal around the nail itself, prevents leaks. All right, so another one of our other ingredients here is our ridge vent system. This is key and crucial to the overall life of your roof itself. What this is we cut a 2-inch space on each side of the ridge line of your roof. And what this does is it allows air that goes in through the soffits underneath the roof into the attic and pulls it out the top. Okay, so just earlier we were talking about an issue that they had with the old chimney flashing. You can see what we did here. We pulled out all of the old flashing, put down new ice and water shielding, waterproofing membrane, new shingles, as well as new metal. Now we'll clean all this up later, but just give you an idea of what the final product looks like. All right, and one of our final ingredients is our entire ridge system. You can see earlier when we showed the cuts that we made in the ridge for the ridge vent, this is the final product. This is the ridge vent when it's installed. So we put the ridge vent across all the main horizontal ridges and then put new ridge caps on all the other slope ridges. All right, so we get asked a lot, hey, is ridge vent really worth it? What does it really do? Like I mentioned earlier, when we make those cuts on the ridge itself, it allows air from inside your attic, we all know hot air rises, comes out of the ridge itself. It's covered by this, essentially a plastic system here that's nailed down to the roof and then covered with the shingles. This prevents rain and debris from getting inside those holes that we cut, but allows all the hot air to come out. All right, so just earlier we were talking about the leaks that they were having in this lower slope roof area right here, where all the shingles were kind of meshed together. It's just an absolute mess. Take a look now. We have a new decking put on, new waterproofing barrier, and new shingles. Solid roof. Now, here's another thing. Brand new steel. We'll obviously get this cleaned up towards the end. All right, so we've got our skylights put back on. What we did, we put in new flashing, new cladding here, put the skylights back in, installed a waterproofing membrane over top and underneath of the flashing, then new shingles, sealed everything up, tight as a tick. Another key piece of your roof are your vent systems. When you look up on your house, you see all these little pipes and protrusions. What they are they essentially the off-gassing element of your plumbing system. What we do is we put down a lead pipe flashing base. These last forever. We paint them, seal them all in, you're good to go. All right, so I forgot one of our key ingredients earlier. Here's what we call drip edge. And what is this? It's this strip of metal that goes all the way around the perimeter of your house. Think of it as essentially a belt. But what it does is whenever water runs off of the shingles, it'll hit the drip edge and this little piece of angle steel kicks all the water out. What does it do? Keeps all the water from rotting away on your fascia and your soffits. All right, so each project is a little different from one another. However, those are our key ingredients to majority of roofs. If you have any questions, give us a call.